Hi, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Richard Sterling with Bob Gibson. Dan DeForest is with us. And we'll be talking to Bianca Ziemann from Crean Lutheran girls basketball team. They have a big game tomorrow night in Santa Barbara. And, Bob, there's nothing like going into the playoffs. And, game time was supposed to be 7 o'clock out there, and they moved it to 3 o'clock. And they tell them today, like this afternoon, about, 11 or so. For me, that's the afternoon anyway. But anyway, they let them know, less than 24 hours ahead of time they got to change the game. So you got to scramble now, Bob. It's a lot of work.
Hey, you know what? But isn't everybody used to that lately, though? Ever since we've been in lockdown and we came out of it, and everybody's used to saying, you know what? Just tell me where to go, where to be, what time to be there, and I'll get there. I'll find a way to get there.
Well, they knew what time, but they changed it because they had something else scheduled in that gym. Don't you think the homeschool should have let the visiting school come up in a playoff game ahead of time?
You would think
that's
so,
a possibility.
Right?
Get Plan B ready.
Having to leave that much earlier to make that long of a drive to get up there. You're right. No, that's that definitely that's those little throws a little monkey wrench into the plans there. No doubt.
It's not a big deal if you're modern day going to Bosco or if you're Santa Fe heading to Downey, but you're going to Santa Barbara. The traffic. You ever go up to Bob? That place is a mess. No, it's got some of the worst traffic in the world at any time of day.
It's terrible.
Bob, they've been working on that highway up there where it goes into 2 lanes for about 40 years now. As long as I can remember, they've been working on that thing.
They've been working on that since I had a full head of hair. That's how long they've been working on that.
I'm telling you, man,
that highway up there.
It's ridiculous. It's been a while for that too, Bob. Anyways, I'd like to thank you for joining us tonight. We are getting now into, normally we have nothing to talk about this time of year. Normally this weekend we'd be talking about track and field because that is basically the last sport to finish every year. It's track and field. Don't give me that baseball. Track and field finishes after baseball.
Well, you're right about that.
So, but anyways, it may be a couple days, but the track and field thing is a couple days long. Pretty good. Then there's no state meet this year. But, going this late in the year, Bob, we got basketball going, got baseball starting up, all kinds of crazy stuff happening right now. But let's talk about the Open Division right now in the boys basketball, Southern Section playoffs. That Open Division is wild, Bob. I'll tell you right now. I didn't know that Modern Day got the 3rd seed, but I guess Bosco got in the last game of the year, their last regular Trinity League game. And, of course, Centennial is just Centennial, man. Centennial is just always hanging around, but they get the top seed, Bob.
Look, even tonight as we speak, Modern Day is getting ready to take on Damien.
Yep.
That's a marquee matchup.
I just talked to Randy. I just got the phone with Randy before
That is a marquee matchup here in Southern California. We used to talk about Bishop Amat as the top school in the San Gabriel Valley. Bishop Amat this, Bishop Amat. That's no longer the case anymore. I'm sorry. Bishop Amat's still a top school and everything, but Damien has overtaken Amat as that top school in the San Gabriel Valley. So, Damien Athletics has just stormed onto the scene across the board. This basketball team has been really, really good this year. Would not surprise me one bit to see Damien go into Modern Day and come away with that victory. Not one bit.
Would shock you.
Not one bit.
Well, Modern Day's hamstrung today. Got a couple of guys out, a couple of their top players. But you know what, Bob? It shouldn't matter to a school like that. Everybody on that team's an all-star.
Well, there's no situation you can put Gary McKnight in that he hasn't already seen 100 times over already there. Longtime head coach at Modern Day. So, he'll be ready. He'll have his guys ready. There's no doubt about it. And we've seen lesser Modern Day teams go on and win CIF and state titles, right? And this is a really good Modern Day team. So this is a team capable, again, of winning a CIF title.
Do you think Corona has enough to last in that Open Division? That's a tough division, and for them to get the top seed, it puts a big target on their back, and I think they'd like to see that target on somebody else's back.
Look, we've seen some of Josh Giles' teams at Centennial maybe underachieve. I hate to use that word, but there's times we had really high expectations for some previous Corona Centennial teams, and they came out on the wrong end. And a lot of that is just being up against some really good basketball. Let's face it, this Open Division, it's no cakewalk, right? If you win the Open Division, man, you have earned your championship, no doubt about that. But this year's Centennial team, I'm telling you, man, that they are right in the mix as well. This is what I love about it. There's probably 5 or 6 teams that you could just make a case for that they could win this championship. Don't be surprised if any of them come out on top here. That's why it's going to be so much fun. With everything else we've been through, it's just going to be fun to watch this brand of basketball because in Southern California, you're not going to find a better brand of basketball, I think, across the country than what we're playing right here.
You'd be hard pressed because of the high density of athletes, and there's just so many. There's just a plethora of good schools, and in Southern California, and there's a lot of top athletes as well. Let's go to Dan DeForest now. Dan, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, doing great.
Coming up to us from the tail of Orange County, Bob.
The tail.
The tail.
Wagging the tail down there. Wagging the tail.
Right, instead of doing great. No, it's an exciting time of year. The basketball playoffs are up and coming. They got an accelerated, playoff schedule. So, like you guys were saying earlier, it's been pushed up and moved around, and a lot of schools making a lot of adjustments to get ready for the game.
Well, they're going to be playing well into June, and we're just not used to this, man. It just doesn't happen. Remember March Madness? Well, this is June Madness now, Bob.
June
They moved it
Madness.
to
I like
June,
that.
crossed
They're
over
gonna
May,
turn around.
June Madness.
Something
Yeah, they're
different.
going to turn around and start next year, so it's going to be boom, finish, and then up and going.
Yeah.
There's no rest, again, for this sport either.
Yeah, no question about it. Hey, one thing I noticed, guys, looking at the open division brackets for the boys and the girls, a lot of teams, again, having boys and girls teams in the open division in the final, like Modern Day, like Corona Centennial. And it'd be interesting, Bob, if the boys and girls teams both met in the finals for both of them. I mean, you'd have Modern Day playing Corona Centennial boys and the girls playing the same thing. That would be some type of finals.
Look, I expect the Modern Day girls to be somewhere in that Open Division championship. I mean, they're just that good. Going to be a little bit of a tougher road to hoe, I think, for the Modern Day boys, especially as you talked about, Rich, the injuries that they're dealing with right now. But boy, that Modern Day girls team, man, they are so good. Brooke Dimitri is just a lights out player going to Stanford next year. Again, just another in a long line of those great Modern Day girls basketball players that they've had over there, man. Just one of the best athletes we've seen come through Modern Day. But don't we seem to say that every year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Bob, I was just thinking and talking to Randy earlier about the big Damien Modern Day game today. Being that Modern Day has Brockenbacher out, and have a point guard out as well. I mean, to get at this level in the playoffs in SoCal, you better have at least 3 big guns on your team. Otherwise, you're going to have trouble, when you do meet the teams that are high caliber, like everybody is right now. So, Modern Day, I don't know, man. If Damien plays their game, Modern Day may be out in this first round. Not out because, you're playing in a tournament. You have to play everybody. But, they'll definitely be hamstrung. They'll have to work their way back into the finals if they can.
Look, we talked a couple weeks ago, and we've talked over these last few weeks about how Modern Day really, that's an advantage to have the height that they have on their team, right? Not everybody has, those kind of big guys. So you're right, Breedenbach being out, that's just one less guy, one less rim protector, one less guy, defending, out on the perimeter there that someone's got to shoot over. And that's hard, right? When so many teams are just trying to launch the three, they're jump shot oriented teams. And when you've got that big hand in your face and somebody that's, 6'11" instead of that 6'4" guy in front of you, man, that just makes such a difference on that defensive end. So, we'll see, like I said, Gary McKnight, he's going to find a way to try to make up for that. And there's always some kid down the bench at Modern Day too who's looking for that opportunity. So we'll see who steps up. We did. It's a cliche, right? You got to step up. But here you go. Here's a chance for somebody on that Modern Day bench to step up and become a player, right? Become a hero.
But one kid, try that whole bench, man. It's one thing about the Monarchs, man. When you go see those guys, even on the road, it's impressive. They usually take about 21 guys on the road. Yeah, only 7 or 8 are going to play. Right. But the fact is, they come out, man. They have a ton of kids. They run, the warm-ups are interesting, too. I mean, you have so many guys on that floor, Bob, against maybe 12 or 13 on the other team. But I've seen them have as many as 24. We've counted them. They take them on the road in the playoffs. It's prestigious, They want to give these kids a taste of what it's like at the next level. And so, right now things are a little bit different, though, Bob, with the COVID crowds.
No,
they're just not big.
So true. No, and you're right. Playing in gyms with very few, if any, people in them. Hopefully we get to that point where we can have big crowds back in the gyms. I don't know if we're going to get a lot of that, here for these playoff runs, but we'll definitely have them for next season and beyond. But this really shaped up to be one of the better Modern Day teams, I think, in recent years. Right? It's been a couple of years since we saw a real dominant Modern Day team, and this one had a chance, I think, to shape up. Is that we'll see. Like I said, this bracket is just so highly competitive, right? Like I said, we talk about Centennial, we talk about Damien, we're talking, Sierra Canyon, of course, is probably the favorite going into this whole thing. I mean, it's crazy. But I think any of those teams, can be had on any given night, right? I mean, anybody can step up and win this division, and that's what's fun about the Open Division. But it also trickles down, right? So we always talk about Division I, right? So you take some of those teams in the Open, and so now Division I's more competitive, and some teams that might have been in Division I, your Division II is now more competitive because some of those teams went back into Division I.
Yep.
So I think it really has made it fun. This Open Division has opened things up, for use of a pun, no pun intended, but it's really opened things up in the other divisions and made it that much more fun, giving some other schools opportunities to compete for championships that may not have been there because these other schools were so dominant year after year.
Well, I've liked all the way they've redone the playoffs, the way they've revamped everything, especially in football. But basketball, yeah, it's carried on into that. We're no longer just regional games where we already know the schools pretty well in the different regions. You're actually having to play outside your comfort zone, outside the box. You're playing teams far away, baby. Some of these teams in the first round travel 100 miles one way just to get to their first round opponent. So it's great to see a lot of these schools in different areas play, and the games seem to be more competitive. That's what I've liked the most about the new formats in football and in basketball.
And real quick, it reminds me of a couple of years ago when Santa Margarita won a Division II championship, right? I mean, in that Trinity League, they're getting beat up, but it was a really good basketball team. You could see how good they were, just not quite on that modern-day Bosco, J. Serra level, right? Got bumped down to D2 for the playoffs and won a CIF title because that's where they deserve to be, right? So they didn't have to compete in the Open or the D1 division. They got to go to D2 where they were so much more competitive, and they won that championship. And so that you're right. This is when it opens things up like that, you get that chance to win a championship.
Crean Lutheran is 144 miles from Santa Barbara.
Is it really? Okay.
Wow.
So Larry's saying it's for Crean Lutheran's game tomorrow night. 144 miles for a game. One way.
All the way down to Santa Barbara. That's going to be a nice drive.
hey, Dan, wait till you get that traffic, baby. Hey, Dan, what are the constraints? You were at a game last night. What were the constraints in that game in terms of fans? Every county's got their different, recommendations. Some guys in a blue tier, some guys in a chartreuse tier, some dudes in a pink tier. So, what was the constraints last night at the game?
Actually, it was pretty good. We, there was a few seats that were blacked out, but overall we had the most fans that I've ever seen all season. So pretty full on the Crean side, and then on the other side it was, they had quite a bit of fans. So they're starting to loosen up, allow more people in, and it was a pretty excited crowd, and it was really had a lot of energy in the gym. It makes a huge difference in an empty gym, I'll tell you. So having the fans there was great. So now we go down and travel down to Santa Barbara. So we'll see how that goes. But we have a lot of parents going down there.
It always reminds you how big the southern section is, right? I mean, the southern section is humongous.
All the way to Tehachapi, Bob. You know how far Tehachapi is? It's not even on the planet Earth. That's how far that Tehachapi is, man.
Remember a couple of years ago we were talking about Boron, right?
Yeah,
Where the
Boron.
heck is Boron High School,
Out in
man?
the desert,
It's
baby.
way out there.
Yeah, they got a hell of a football team. They got every kid in town.
That's right.
Every kid in town's on that team, man.
That southern section's gigantic.
I'll tell you right now, So, Dan, Santa Barbara for Crean Lutheran coming up. Last night the girls beat Costa Mesa in a pretty good game, 66-49. Now they got to go up and take on Santa Barbara in a quarterfinal game. I got to tell you, I mean, of course you can't disrespect any opponent, especially in the playoffs, because you will lose. The minute you think you're better, you're going to crush them, you're going to get crushed. But I got to tell you, I wouldn't fear this team as much as their record, simply because looking at the records from top to bottom, Santa Barbara didn't get out of their little area there. They didn't get out of the county. Maybe played some teams from Ventura because that's part of their league. But the majority of the schools they played didn't have winning records. So I got to wonder if Crean has a good shot at winning this thing, at getting this game at Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara's an old high school, a lot of tradition, man. Crean Lutheran's kind of a newer school on the scene. So you're going to have the old guard against the new kids on the block. Ought to be interesting tomorrow.
The schedule that was put together for Crean, speaking of schedules, they played a tough schedule. They had the Empire League was really difficult, and then it's the games down the stretch. When they played Kennedy and they played Cypress, there's a lot of energy in their gyms too, more fans in there, and you could feel the difference. And they were able to pull out some tight games. So I think they got that behind they got that momentum going in, and we're going to go in and play really hard. It's just a matter of getting down there early. Everybody's taking off at 10 o'clock for a 3 o'clock game, so hopefully traffic's not too bad and they can.
It's going to be bad. I guarantee you, it's going to be bad.
Maybe we have to leave at 8. I don't know. But,
yeah, you might.
Just don't do what Kobe did. Just don't be flying in no helicopter down. I know you got more wealth than Kobe, but do not be flying out that way, man. Especially if it's foggy.
I'm just excited for the girls. They played great last night. I mean, they were hitting threes, and they were working the ball around, and they played against a pretty big opponent. There was a girl that was about 6'4" there. Just a big, tall girl. She got a little tired out in the second half, but really was, tough to stop in the first half. But the girls hung on and opened it up and won. So I think they'll be ready for tomorrow night's game. Bianca does a great job in prepping the girls. They're ready. They got scouting reports. They know what they're getting into. So I think they're going to be ready for tomorrow night.
One thing I was alluding to when we were talking about the schedule with the girls, I think the most valuable game on the whole schedule was when the Lady Saints took on Mater Dei.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, you're going to get slaughtered. I don't care. You're going to get slaughtered. But you know what? When you're an up-and-coming program, you need to get slaughtered. That's how you get better.
Yeah.
You got to play a team that's wait a minute. You got to play a team that's much better than you in order to be like them. You got to see the speed that they play, the crispness of their passes, the acumen of the athletes on the floor, giving you easy ball fakes, and all that other stuff. That's when you learn when you play the top teams. You get your black eye early, humbles everybody out. Everybody's humble now because you just got your tail handed to you. So now, as the season progresses, you notice the girls will be getting stronger and stronger. Now that they're in the playoffs, they shouldn't fear anybody. Just play your game. You survived the Monarchs. Yeah, you got crushed, but who hasn't?
Well, I think they played a great game against them. It was surprising. I mean, I know the score didn't indicate like 74-35, but they were playing tough, and that press they had was was very impressive. They are, like you guys were alluding to earlier, they are without a doubt 12 deep, because when the bench came in, they were just as good as the starters, with the exception of the big tall. The girl is 6'2", and she had big wingspan, but she hurt us on the press bag. But they got it together second half and played them pretty tight. So that was a good eye opener to kind of see where we were at in the program, and then go from there. You can only go upwards, but it's a tough one to open. Like, man, it's a tough one to open up against.
What's great? What's great, Dan, when the girls have seen Brooke Dimitri at Mater Dei and Elisa Frescas, right? I mean, two of the top players in anywhere that you're going to find on the girls' basketball scene. They've seen that now, right? They faced that. Nobody else, those two girls don't play anywhere else, right? They don't play for anybody else. So you've seen the best players already on the court. You've competed against that. Now you're going, wait a minute. There's no move, there's no play that anybody else can run that's as good as what those girls run at Mater Dei. So that's the thing. They've seen the best. Now they can go play, and maybe the competition doesn't look quite so hard when you've already faced and looked in the eye of the beast, right?
Oh, it was crazy. Yeah. So the girl was tall last night, but wear the same athleticism as the girl that was there, long and tall, can shoot and inside and outside. You can see why she's going to Stanford, but. They learned a lot, and I think they took a lot for the next, few games, and really went in and put a good winning streak together, and then they finished the season strong. So I think you're right. You don't face opponents like that very often, and it's good that it was on the schedule.
Well, you need to load up on those schools. If you're trying to build a program, you need to load up on those guys, because those guys will schedule you for every homecoming game every year. I mean, they'll put you on their schedule. They need an easy game to run their offense and get their team to learn it without getting hurt. And that's why you'll schedule a lower division team like Clemson and Alabama do. They put on Charlotte Southern or Sisters of the South on the schedule. They'll pay them $1 million basically just to be tackling dummies, And so
to nothing and
take
them down. I understand that, but it's good for them, like you guys were saying. You gotta see what it takes to be at that level and watch the speed and watch the ball handling. Scoring. I mean, you got to be ready.
Get a bloody nose, man. Because once you taste your blood, that just means ready to go. Now it's time to play. And there's a lot of teams that build their programs doing that. They get slaughtered at first, and then pretty soon the athletes know Got to put in the extra effort. That's the only way to be a winner. Putting in the extra effort. Forget that. Just put in 100%. There's no such thing as 101, 110%. Just put in 100% all the time, and you'll be fine. You know.
Yeah, that's physically impossible to do 101. But you're right, 100%.
Yeah.
Go out there and play tough. They're a young team, so I think that they are gathering a lot of experience this year. So they have a few seniors will be coming up as seniors, and I think the program's really heading in the right direction. And they had a great season. They only lost like 4 games, so I think we're going to see a lot next year.
Yeah, going to be interesting. We'll be covering a lot of that. But right now, all the playoffs are underway tonight. So, we're live, they're going. So we have to wait for scores. We probably won't have any before we go off the air, except what you're seeing right now and on the crawl, and you're seeing some of the matchups. Hey, guys, I got to talk to you about this game in Alabama, Carver High School. I can't remember the other school they played, but it was a 6-4 game. It was a state or a playoff game.
Wait, who got the save in that game? Basketball, not baseball.
Yes,
Sorry.
6-4. This was very, very reminded me of UCLA back in the day when they had Lou Alcindor, Bill Walton. These schools couldn't stop them. They won like 88 games in a row before Notre Dame finally beat UCLA. So they came out one day and to play Oregon, and Oregon held the ball. It was a 4-corner offense. Only way they could slow the Bruins down was to hold the ball. The final score was like 18-16 or something like that. UCLA eventually won, but 6-4, guys? Really? And this is a playoff game? When the other team's averaging 72 points a game? Nuts.
Were there no fouls called, or no running clock? What was going on?
Basically, it's the old 4 corners. I get the ball, they throw it to me in the corner. As long as my man's not within 5 or 6 feet of me, social distancing.
Right.
The clock runs. I could stand there with the ball under my arm and just hold it, and that's basically what people used to do. They would get to the outside corner, hold the ball, and basically you just stand around and let the clock run down. There's no sense in trying to force the offense, because once you come up on the guy, he's just going to pass it. Yeah. He's just going to pass it. They don't want to shoot. They're working for the last shot. The problem is you got to hold the ball for 47 minutes to get that last shot. Remember, back in the old days, there was no shot clock in college basketball.
So that's the thing about today, right? You eventually have to give the ball
have to
up
give it
to
up.
the other team, but
still, Bob,
6-4.
Yeah, but imagine you're blowing 35 seconds each time you have the ball.
Right. Now we've seen teams do that where you work the shot clock down. And that's that's a plan to work the shot clock down to 2 or 3 before you take a shot up. But man, I don't know if it was so much that or was it just bad offense, man. I would like to see the shooting numbers in this game.
I don't think it was bad offense at all.
Really?
Or bad offense?
It was just 4 corners, baby. You just hold the ball, and if you don't get that defensive rebound and they get an offensive rebound and they throw it back out, you get a fresh 35 seconds or thereabouts. Yeah.
You got to set some traps. You got to do some pressing. You got to get all over those guys in the corners.
That's some throwback basketball for sure.
That's crazy. I don't know.
Well, back when Bob was in high school, I understand that was the staple of their offense.
Right.
And Bob was the leading scorer half the time with 2 points.
Well, we had Team
Wolf,
so we had Team Wolf, Michael J. Fox on the team, so that, yeah.
So let's talk about So check this out. I'm not going to embarrass anybody because the guy's already embarrassed. But in Virginia, this high school coach gets a job, right, at another school. So you think the guy would be happy just to move up, move out, whatever the issue is, get the new job, get to work, right? So what's this guy do? He takes the football equipment. He steals pads, helmets, steals all kinds of stuff, and tries to take it to his new school, his new job, Bob. How about that?
Why? What, the new school wasn't going to give him any equipment?
I have no idea why this. He just got sentenced from taking the equipment.
Did they sentence him? What did they give him? That's terrible.
Come on, that's all you got to say about that?
That's
It's
crazy.
stupidity. This guy just threw away a pension.
Right.
He threw away a career. Now he's probably, I don't know if it was a felony. It probably was because it was more than it's more than grand larceny. It was more than like $300.
Right. Sounds like the
$900.
value of it would be enough to be a felony, right?
So, this guy just threw everything away and what? To steal some stuff? He didn't think anybody was going to know it. The new coach is going to come in and say, like, so when do we get our stuff?
Right.
Here's my helmets.
I mean,
who could have taken all that stuff?
I don't know.
I wonder.
But you know
Who had
what?
the keys? That's
Those
crazy.
guys
Who had
are
the
out
keys,
there,
right.
and they walk amongst us every day.
Oh, man.
Every single day.
How does that happen?
I don't know. But also, there was also a softball game, I believe in Ohio this weekend or this week. 91 runs scored, Bob.
No way.
Is that all?
91 runs
Softball?
scored. Hey, I'm just throwing a tidbit out there. You can look this stuff up here. We
Wait.
don't have time for all this stuff, but I like to throw these wild things out there because, Bob, it is pretty wild, right?
No, usually pitching rules the day. You see so many
Right.
2-1, 1-0. We hear about so many no hitters, 86 strikeouts.
65 walks, Bob. 91 runs, 65 walks. I'm not making this
Oh,
up. Normally I say like
65
1,000 walks. The guy's
walks?
batting 300 or 1,000. But there's no hyperbole here, dude. There was 91 runs scored in that game.
Man, you
Chris
can't. I
don't
mean,
got
that's
the
some.
scores mixed
I'll have the
up
stats.
there?
What's that, Dan?
You sure you don't have the scores mixed up to 6-4?
No. I read the quotes from the players and the coaches and how they had the ball girl pitching at the end of the game. Had to bring in an
Softball,
8th grader
from?
that they're paying on scholarship already to pitch.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Wow.
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess everybody pitched on the team like Canseco did that one time for Oakland.
Right?
Remember that disaster?
Crazy's not.
He threw out his arm on the first
I
pitch.
know, right?
He was done. And then he got hit in the head with a baseball trying to catch a
That's
ball.
what
in the
happened in
outfield.
all this whole baseball season, man. We've seen more position players pitching than ever before. Come
Yeah.
on, it's turning into a joke now.
Well, listen, I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen this upcoming week with the Open Division guys. They got some great teams in there. We'll definitely have some updates, some interviews next week. I know we had an interview scheduled for today. Something's going on with our Wirecast today, so
All right,
we
we'll
won't be able
get
to
that
talk
worked
to
out.
them. But just so much stuff going on. Next week we'll have softball updates, baseball updates. You know, I'm just going to Dodger Stadium this time of year, Bob.
No, I know. It's so much fun. We've had so much
We're
fun
not going this
covering
year.
those finals
We're
at Dodger Stadium over the years. Right. I can't wait to get back to that next
Last
year.
year we didn't
Hey,
get to go.
congratulations to Jay Serra really quick, who took 2 of 3 from Orange Lutheran to win that Trinity League championship. Talk about probably the two best teams in Southern California, Jay Serra and Orange Lutheran right there. And that was
talking soccer?
fun. No, baseball.
Baseball?
Baseball. That was fun, man. That Trinity League is always a wild ride, and Jay Serra got the best of Orange Lutheran this year. So congratulations to Brett Kay and the Lions down there at Jay Serra. They are the Trinity League champions this year. And
Hey, they had a great soccer
Man,
team.
what a
The girls'
team they
soccer
have.
team was nationally ranked, Bob.
Oh, yes. No, that soccer program. Jay Serra's got a lot of good athletics down there. That
They're
soccer
ready to
program
take
is
on
one
the
of them.
Chivas, my brother.
For sure.
I'm telling you right now.
sure.
Probably
That-
do pretty good, too.
That program's crazy good.
Hey, is that clock right, Larry?
Is that it?
Yeah, you got about 20 seconds to play.
20
All right,
seconds.
20
man.
seconds.
How does it go so quick every week?
I don't know
now?
what happened today.
Man.
We didn't even have our interview.
We start talking, and next thing you know, it's
Hey,
over.
Dan, thanks for joining us tonight. We
right.
appreciate it. And
right.
good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, enjoy that drive.
Yeah, enjoy that drive,
I'm gonna
brother.
be heading, yeah. I'll give you guys
You know
an
what?
update.
We're waiting for the
That
updates.
drive will be so fast on the way back if you win that game tomorrow.
Right?
Oh, yeah. We'll be talking about hey, it's not too bad. I hope you're right, though. Why haven't they fixed that freeway down there? Whatever's going on.
They'll never fix it.
I always feel bad for
They'll
those
never
guys
fix
that
it.
came in from Rigetti to play Artesian one year, and it was like a 97-92 game. This is football now with Aaron Flowers, and they had to ride home after that game, Bob. 4 hours on a bus to Rigetti. That's up near
Do you
Tehachapi.
think 5 hours is enough? I mean,
It was
like,
probably more than 5 hours, though, and they had to sit there on that bus and sit there and figure out why they lost that game. They scored 92 points in football, and it wasn't
And
enough,
lost.
my brother. Look it up. It's there for you. All right, little hyperbole. I think it was 68 to 64,
Whatever.
but same
Close
thing.
enough.
It was still like 1,000 yards each
A lot
guy
of
threw
points.
for. It was a great ball game. All right, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank once again Dan DeForest, Bob Gibson. I'm Rich Estrella saying so long to my friends here at the SoCal Prep Report. Join us next week. We'll have more scores, updates, and all kinds of crazy stuff for you right here. Have a good Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Good night.